Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest Garage Lore podcast episode. As always, I'm one half your tag team champion, Jeff. And joining me, as always, is the immaculate Chicago gentleman himself. And we are on podcast episode number 22, the Firo episode. Tim, would you be interested in hearing about the Pokemon Firo?
Course.
Unlike Spearow, Firo has huge regal wings. It can stay in the air for a long time without ever having to rest. At higher experience levels, it can use its mirror move to copy an enemy's attack. Well, everyone, thank you for watching this podcast episode. We'll catch you. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you for
you know,
listening
I,
to the Pokedex read along.
it's funny because I, I can't remember if this is legit, but some of you OG Pokemon fans will remember. But in the manga, I'm pretty sure the main character it was either red or it was like a different type of Ash who had a Fearow rather than a Pidgeotto. And I thought it was so much cooler that he had a Fearow instead.
Yeah.
Because I think Fearow himself is cooler.
I
He has
vaguely
the word
remember
fear in his
reading.
name.
Yeah, I vaguely remember reading a little bit of the manga. Like, I think I got that.
Yeah.
I rented it from the library for a little bit and read through
Oh,
some of
your
those.
library had manga?
Yeah.
That became, yeah, I guess my library would have manga also, but I don't remember when they started getting it.
I
I
think I
remember
also
when
got like some of the DBZ as well, or Dragon Ball. I forget. But yeah,
oh
definitely a
man.
few.
I went through a heavy comic book phase where I got a lot of comics from the library. But I
How did
think
they do that? How'd they handle that? Because I feel like that
what
would,
comic books?
yeah, I feel like those, like your
It was like the
weeklies, I feel like those
hardcover.
would, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Because I feel
it
like the
wasn't like
weeklies wouldn't hold up.
not not the weeklies, the hardcover prints.
Yeah.
But how have you been, Tim? What's been going on in
Uh,
your world since we last recorded?
um. Well, I overslept today, for one. Yeah.
Go on.
It wasn't that much. It was only like an hour. Um. Yeah. I mean, yesterday was a holiday, so we had the day off.
Yep.
And so usually when we have like a weekday off, I turn my alarms off on my phone, and then I forgot to turn it back on. So I just overslept by an hour. Showed up,
Oh,
to, logged on to work an hour late or whatever. It's fine, but
you
whatever.
did you get in trouble or anything like that? You
Nah,
good?
nah.
All right.
They're just like, oh, okay. I thought, because my lead was like, "Are you in today?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just overslept." It's like, oh, okay, whatever.
As long as it doesn't keep happening often, I guess they're cool with it, right?
Yeah, and also like you could always just shift your hours if you need to, sort of thing.
Well, for those of you who are watching the video version of the podcast, you will see that I have completed my transformation into being Asian Mr. Clean. I will also accept the name in lieu of Hitman references, I will accept the name Asian 47.
Of
I'll
course.
accept that. And just like you brought up, Tim, I am joining the greats of bald Asians like Batista and Ned from Spider-Man. Both the three of us representing the Filipino community.
Was
But here's the
he
thing.
was he bald
Huh.
in any of those movies, or was it just outside the movie where he was bald?
Yeah, I
Like the
feel
actor.
like he's got hair. Ned, the character, has hair,
Okay.
but then like the actor himself does a lot of media interviews and stuff where I see
Yeah.
him bald.
Right.
But yes, everyone, I have completed my transformation. Normally, when I cut my hair, I usually go like a little bit on the top. And this time around, I did that. I shaved the sides and the back, and I left a little bit on the top. And I was just looking at myself in the mirror, like if I'm gonna go this short anyway, I might as well go all the way with it. So that's what I did. I had a moment where I said, I'm just gonna go for it. So here's the thing though about like me shaving. This is not the first time I've done this, so this is not drastically different, at least for me.
Okay.
But normally, like I see a lot of actors, a lot of Hollywood celebrities, and public figures when they shave their head, they go for like the facial hair to like balance it out.
Oh.
This is the most facial hair I can grow. This is the extent of the facial hair I can grow. So I will accept Asian 47 so
At
as a
least you're doing
Hitman
it
reference.
like in the summer or something.
Yeah, it was hot today, dude. I don't know if we have any listeners from the
It almost hit 100
Chicagoland area, but
degrees
it was
today.
oof,
I don't know if it
brutal,
did, but yeah, it was close if not
brutal.
at 100.
Anyway, let's get down to as that one Mulan character would say, let's get down to business. He
Is that
himself
what
is
they
not
say?
bald. I
Oh,
shouldn't be making. Let's be clear that I know that character is not bald, but I will use his
we
line.
don't know that for sure. They could be
Yeah,
wearing a wig.
he might be. It's we need to contact Disney for that information.
We don't know the
Anyway,
full
let's.
lore of the character.
We've been doing a lot of stuff on Garage Lore's Twitch as well as our YouTube channel, and one of the things that I've been doing, I don't know, I'm trying to remember the stuff we talked about in the last episode, but I've been playing the game Unpacking, which has been a very cozy video game series to play, and it's very addictive as well. And something I always laugh about as I rewatch my recordings is that there will be common household items that I look at that are like, what is this?
Yeah,
Is my household so boring and uneventful that I don't know what this thing is? I'll look at something like, is this a rice cooker? Is my rice cooker just super boring? But for those of you who don't know what unpacking is, it's a puzzle game that has organization elements where you're moving into a new home and you'll have these boxes surrounding this new home. And you open each box and it's going to be like, okay, where do you want to put this stuffed animal? Where do you want to put this, these mugs that you have in this box? And it's just very cozy. It's very relaxing. There's no combat. I mean, the combat is in your mind. It's you trying to figure out where you want to put all your
yeah.
stuff.
There's no like, um, I guess for lack of a better term, there's no like lost condition of any kind. Like you can't really lose this game in any way.
There is like elements of I don't know if this is going to be spoilers. I don't know if a game like Unpacking can have spoilers, but there are elements where the game will be like w- when you have everything out of the boxes, stuff will highlight red, or
Yeah,
it's like,
but
okay,
it's
you have
still
put
like
this in the wrong spot.
you just not a need to put everything in the correct spot. But like you're
Some
not based on any time limit or anything like that.
right. And it's there something I find fascinating about the game is that there is kind of a story there in that you're following this young woman through her life and it's like okay, this was hers. This it doesn't dawn on you at first, but then as you go through the levels you're like, oh, this is the same girl. We started off in the level where she was a kid, she moved on to college and university, and now it's and
It's
if
not told through any like any sort of exposition or anything. It's just purely based
right.
on the room you're unpacking and all that.
But it's so very clever in the way it tells her story because there was one stage and it was like I was moving into a fancy condo and there was stuff that wasn't hers
Yeah.
and then like when you finish that stage it was like, oh, it feels so serious moving in with him. It's like, oh, okay, she met someone. The next stage is her back at her parents' home and she has like a photo of her and her supposed partner, and then like you try to place it somewhere and it's highlighted red, and then you put it away, you hide it away in a drawer, and that becomes a valid spot. And you're like, oh, I see what happened here.
Yeah.
She's moving in with her parents and she doesn't want to see the picture of her boyfriend or partner or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, I see what happened here. It's very clever. It's very clever, and I like it. It's very cozy. I highly recommend playing Unpacking if you're down to play a game that's just very chill and it's got the puzzle elements and it's just very clever with its storytelling. As tough it can be as it can be to imagine that a game like that could have story, it does it really well. So I
Yeah,
highly recommend
it's
Unpacking.
as if you're like some mover or something who does not know this person whatsoever, and you just show up to unpack them for them like every however many years, and that's it. And that's the only context you get is you don't know the person at all or anything beyond that, just from the stuff you're unpacking, basically.
Something else I've been playing for our YouTube channel has been Streets of Rage 4 on Mania Plus difficulty, trying to get S ranks. And it's funny because like I said to myself, this is so hard. I was playing the first level on S rank plus, or not S rank plus, but Mania
Mania.
plus. And then it was like they spawned so many dudes. And I said to myself, I don't think I can do this as an entire series, but let me get one recording of stage one on Mania Plus difficulty, and it'll just be for laughs. And then like I guess I got super into Streets of Rage 4 and the combo system. And I've been watching YouTube videos of people who do like 800 hit combos from beginning to end. And I don't think I'll ever be that good. And that's why like I watch my recordings and I always say like If you're here to see an immaculate combo, you're at the wrong place. I'm just a normie trying to get S ranks, but like I've gotten up to stage 3 at this point, and I think I will not promise that I'll do the entirety of the game, but I'm gonna keep the train going for as long as I can. So I've been enjoying a lot of Streets of Rage 4, and I just keep doing Axel every run because as much as I want to play
You're
Blaze and the other
familiar with them.
characters,
You're
yeah,
most familiar, or like they kind of fit the run better.
right, right. And in terms of other stuff we've been doing for Twitch and YouTube, we have been doing more. I don't know if we discussed it last episode. We've been doing more of our
Might
series
have.
Never Be Game Over. And been playing Shock Troopers, and we've done 3 episodes so far, and they've all been X-Men Danger Room simulations. They're not canon to the series. The series is called Never Be Game Over. We will never see the game over screen in that series. Never. Now
I,
the
I
X-Men
think
Danger Room simulations.
I think for the last episode, we technically didn't see the game over because
Oh
I
yeah.
stopped the recording before the game over screen showed up, and then I
Yes,
quit the
yes.
game. So
We found the emergency exit.
yeah. So
Have you
technically, we
been
did.
have you been enjoying Shock Troopers, Tim? Because that's a game that I played on Nintendo Wii SNK Classics Collection, and I fell in love with it when I played it. But have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those like, if I was just trying to play it by myself, just to get through it, it's just like I would play through it once and that'd be about it.
Hmm. And then something else a game that you gifted me, Tim, is D&D Chronicles of Mystara, which is
Yeah,
like a compilation of games, 2 in 1. What was it? It was like Tower of Mystara, Shadow over
Tower
something.
of Doom and Shadow over Mystara, I think, were the names.
Yeah, two. And it's 2 different beat 'em up games that I never knew existed. I didn't know that D&D had beat 'em up games of all things,
Yeah,
and they ended up being super fun. A little repetitive with some of like the levels and the set pieces, but I
yeah,
still enjoyed it.
yeah. They were long enough. We did them both in one stream because
Uh-huh.
they were short enough to do that. But yeah, I enjoyed those. Um,
I like that they had like choose your path elements through the story, which that genre of games doesn't do often.
yeah, that's what was cool about it. Like it had a little bit of like character leveling up a little bit, and then it had which didn't really
Character
involve,
classes too.
yeah, character classes. It didn't have a ton of like choice beyond for that kind of stuff, but it did have like um the whole choose your path kind of stuff. And
Uh-huh.
these were arcade games too. Like that's where they originated from the
I
90s.
cannot
Yeah.
imagine seeing that game in an arcade, or like I don't recall seeing that game in an arcade, I
Yeah,
should say.
I vaguely it was either this or like a I don't know if there was a side scroller beat 'em up gauntlet game, but it was either this or like a gauntlet game that I remember because
See,
they're
when it came to beat 'em ups at the arcade, I recall Turtles in Time, Simpsons,
yeah,
and X-Men.
it might have been this that I've been thinking of, but I'm pretty sure I've played a little bit of this at an arcade at some point.
You got this from a Humble Bundle eventually, and that's how you recalled it or you remembered it?
Um, so there was a Capcom sale on Humble Bundle like
Oh.
recent, like last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was that we did this, and I bought it because I saw it. I'm like, oh, we're doing some beat 'em ups. Let's check this out. I bought it for myself, and then I immediately activated it. Went to my Steam library. Didn't see it in my Steam, or it didn't show up in my recent games like what would usually happen, because it turns out I already had the game in my library, yet it still went through. I don't know. And then that was I'm like before I even found that out, or after I found that out, I asked Jeff if he wanted to try activating it. It didn't work, so then I just gifted him a copy because it was cheap. So then we were like, yeah,
How
let's
much
just do
was it?
this. It was only like $5 or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then in terms of anything else we've streamed slash uploaded to our channel, we had a disastrous Valheim episode.
Yeah.
Everything you could imagine that could go wrong went wrong, but we eventually got to our goal. It might have taken a 3-hour stream, but we eventually got to our goal. Do you want me to you want me to give the
Um,
TLDR?
so we started the previous stream we ended. Um, we finished a boss. I don't know if we mentioned it last time, but we finished the second boss, and then we stopped streaming that for that stream. Then the next stream, which we did yesterday, was it yesterday? I don't know. It's recently.
E-
Yeah, it might have been yesterday or the day before. Um, we that was on a separate island from our main island. So then we're like, all right, let's go back to the mainland, and then to our beach house, stock up, and then we're gonna go explore and find the swamps, which is the next biome. So we did that. Got to the swamps. Immediately after getting off our boat, we got both of us were killed. So we lost all our stuff there, and then we respawned at the second at the second boss island with no stuff or a way to get back. So we spent that stream just stockpiling to build a boat so that we can get back to the mainland, and then another boat to go from there to the swamps again.
Then once we got to the swamps, we were
Yeah,
surprised by what were they, leeches and
leeches.
draugrs?
Yeah, and
We got got.
I got stuck on a log for a while while Jeff had to rescue me. It's a good time.
And my rescue attempts didn't exactly go gracefully either.
Yeah,
So I mean that's Valheim. That's those types of games in general too. So
yeah,
but I'm still enjoying the game. I'm
yeah. I
so excited
enjoyed
to see
it.
what the third boss is like.
It was just not at all like it was. It was kind of chaotic and just not a great experience. Or I mean, it was fun, but it wasn't like ideal situation or anything.
We did not have an optimal episode.
Yeah,
Let's put it that way. If you're looking for action-packed episodes, that one was not good. Well, action that one was not action-packed in a good way. Let's put it that
yeah.
way.
It was bad for our in-game characters, but it was still fun.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see the next boss in Valheim. I'm excited to see the rest of Valheim because you have
Yeah,
mentioned that you are at the point where you are in an uncharted territory with what you're
yeah,
familiar with from your solo run. So everything we experience at this point is going to be new to you, and it's going to be, I mean, everything about the game is new to me.
yep,
So if we see some like monster that we haven't previously seen, that's going to be our genuine reaction. So I'm excited for it. Let's talk about some new games. Speaking of beat 'em ups, since we mentioned Chronicles of Mystara, we have dived into TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, and I will say that I'm pretty into the game because like I've been trying to do gnarly difficulty, and I have gotten up to episode 4 in gnarly difficulty. I try to do arcade mode because I don't want to do the stuff about leveling up or whatever like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I've been trying to do arcade mode gnarly difficulty. I get up to episode 4 and I get bodied. But for our channel, we played chill difficulty. No, whichever
I think
was
we
the
just
middle
did. Yeah,
difficulty.
whatever the middle. I think it was okay.
It goes chill, okay, and
Yeah, I think it
gnarly.
was
So we
okay.
played okay difficulty story mode, and that one has been going more gracefully than my solo
Yeah,
attempts. And you guys should check that out on our YouTube channel because that game is just so well done. If you're a Turtles fan or if you're just a beat 'em up fan, and I am both, and it's just been so fun playing co-op with you, Tim, because we throw the dudes at the screen just like Turtles in Time, and the music is so good, dude.
yeah,
I like the episode 3 has like Turtles over Broadway, or I forgot how the song goes, but it's something Broadway. And then one of the latter episodes we did, we were doing the hoverboard surfing episode, and that one had a really good background music song. It's such a well done game, and it's on Game Pass. So if any of you have Game Pass, definitely give it a
yeah.
try, especially if you have friends to play with. I
It's got
have
crossplay,
fallen in
but
love.
it's a little weird setting that up. It
We had to
required
do some
like
shenanigans.
yeah, it doesn't have like Steam to Game Pass cross or Windows Store crossplay, or at least directly. You have to like link through. We had to link through our Epic accounts, Epic Game accounts, and then use the Epic Game launch or overlay to link up together. It was weird, but once we got it going, it was fine. Um, yeah, it was. It's definitely like a really good game as far as like presentation and just gameplay. It just feels really good to play. Um, there's definitely enough for like variety in the levels from what I've seen. and enemy variety and everything. And there's a lot of fun like animations that the Foot Clan does, like in the background or whatever, before you even encounter that. As you're walking up to them, like you'll come across, just like a ninja, just like in a chef hat, just doing his job as a chef in the background, but he still has like the full outfit on, the full ninja outfit. But then he has a chef hat on top, and then once you walk up, he just pops up and starts fighting you with everyone else. So there's a lot of stuff
Yeah,
like that.
like in episode 2, there was like the Foot Clan looting stuff from the Turtles party wagon, and they're
Yeah.
just looting all these car parts throughout the stage.
Yep.
There's like a Foot Clan soldier who trips over a fire hydrant water puddle or whatever. You got to pay attention to the stage because they have a lot of fun animations. In terms of quality of life changes, I brought this up during the stream, but I like that this is a beat 'em up game where if you finish, like if you take an enemy down to 0 health, he becomes grayed out, and so you
Yes.
visually get recognition that okay, like this
This
guy's
guy's.
down to zero
Yep.
health. But if you want to keep this combo going, you can totally do so,
You can just keep
which is a
punching,
thing.
use them as a punching bag. Yeah.
Yeah, because again, as I've been going back and forth between Streets of Rage 4 and Shredder's Revenge, it's like in Streets of Rage 4, the way you keep a combo going from one screen to the other, you kind of have to find wacky ways to do it, where you throw a weapon to the edge of the screen and catch it. Like I've seen the experts who do keep a combo going in wacky, weird ways. Like
Yeah.
they punch a barrel, they throw a pipe to the edge of the screen and they catch it. They throw it again and they catch it. Like some shenanigans like that. But like in Turtles, you just keep the combo going by juggling a guy that's already down to 0 health. So that's a great quality of life change.
I
And
forget. Did
yeah,
Streets of Rage have a dodge roll?
no. The way you would dodge is by doing your defensive special. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Because this one has a dodge roll, which is
Yes.
like with iframes and everything. It's pretty cool. Like it's not something you think of being like a good thing for, or it's not like your first like this is what a beat 'em up should have, because it's not something you're necessarily thinking of based on like previous beat 'em ups. But now that it's something in the game, you're like, oh, this is like actually very useful. Of course.
Oh yeah, I've been doing the dodge roll strat for like some of the boss fights, like Bebop and Rocksteady, where it's like you get your 3 hit combo and then you dodge roll back before they
Yeah,
hit you with a wake up or whatever. So
it's
yeah,
got like
Shredder's.
wake ups, and all that kind of stuff too.
I'm interested to see like as they get more content into the game, which I would think they'd do. Like
Yeah, I
what
would
kind of
think so.
characters do they introduce? As like, will there be more characters than just like I think Casey Jones is the one we would unlock in the story mode.
Yeah,
But then, like, who else will make a cameo in Shredder's Revenge? I don't know.
yeah. It's got 6 player co op, so it's got the 4 turtles, April, and Splinter, and then you can unlock Casey Jones. Um,
April is so cool in that game, dude. They made
yeah,
her so cool. She's got like a Chun-Li rising kick that is so useful in the episode 3 level where you're on the hoverboards and you have to fight there's like flying enemies that where April's kick is just so useful.
yeah. There is enough. Like the different characters aren't, as far as from what we've played so far. I don't know how many of the characters you've played, but they seem varied enough, even though they're not like super different.
Something
Like
I
it's
like, I
totally
can't
worth.
remember
It's worth
if you
playing
link
each characters if you wanted to.
I can't remember if you linked me that image or
I
someone
think
else
I
linked me
did.
the image. But it was like there was a lot of Street Fighter references in
Yeah,
some of the move sets where Chun-Li or April has the Chun-Li rising kick, Mikey has the E Honda headbutt, and there was a couple of others that I'm blanking on, but like that's
yeah,
so that's really neat. And anyway, we did a Mikey and April run. And if
yeah.
you're following us on YouTube, you should check out that thumbnail. I'm very proud of that thumbnail.
Yeah,
I got the high five and everything in that. What else have we been playing? Oh, I played Agent 64, the demo,
I did
Spies Never
too.
Die.
Yeah,
That
so
that
this was something that was this was a game that was announced at, was it the PC gaming show, I think, that we
I
watched.
believe so.
Yeah, and then we saw that, oh, it also has a demo out right now or whatever. And when we saw
So
that thing showed off, we're just like, oh, we know exactly what this game is trying to be.
It's
Because
not
at
subtle
first,
about it.
yeah, at first I thought like before they announced any name or showed any specifics, it seemed like it was like a GoldenEye port or whatever, but it's it's not. It's definitely an homage to it.
It's funny because it's like, in a lot of their messaging and a lot of their marketing of the game, how the different ways they allude to GoldenEye without explicitly saying
Yeah,
GoldenEye or Perfect Dark or whatever. They're like, if you love 90s console shooters, uh-huh.
from
Like,
this year
yeah,
that feature a spy. I mean, you
exactly.
might as
Like
well.
they are alluding to GoldenEye and Perfect Dark without explicitly saying
Yeah,
GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. And I played the demo, and I had a fun little challenge about adding Pierce. You guys should just check it out on the YouTube
yeah.
channel. Pierce Brosnan makes a cameo in that, not the actual person, but he's in there,
Now he's there. He's your
and he's
guest.
there in spirit. But from what I played of the demo, it's fun. Like
Yeah.
it's weird because a lot of those mechanics have not aged well, right?
No,
It's
not
it's
like the
it's.
aiming stuff for sure.
But
At
that
least for
being
me.
said, like that being said, if that's what you're signing up for, right? If you
Yeah.
love those games, you know what you're getting into. Like this is what that aiming was back then. So like, and they stay true to it. They stay true to the jank that you would expect from a Golden Eye or a Perfect Dark or whatever. So it's kind of like eating from a pizza place that you know is not a great pizza place, but you still personally love it. Like I'm the type of guy who still loves Little Caesars, right? So Agent 64 is kind of like a Little Caesars where it's like if you know what you're signing up for and you're still okay with it, like yeah, check it out. And the demo right now is free. You might as well check it out if you
Yeah.
have fond memories of GoldenEye.
It's also neat that the different difficulties I'd imagine they make the actual gameplay difficult, but on top of it, I'm pretty sure the 007 games actually increased in difficulty by adding additional objectives. Does that sound right?
I believe so. I
Yeah.
remember GoldenEye being like, okay, you can on easy difficulty just escape the facility, or like,
Yeah.
oh, now you're playing double O difficulty. Now you gotta save the scientists or whatever.
Yeah. So this does that as well. Another cool thing about it is it's gonna have a level editor, which
Oh,
I
dude, that's right.
yeah. So I want to see what that's all about. See what people come up with for that.
Yeah, I wonder. That could be the game changer with this game. Is that
Yeah.
how creative does the community get with some of the levels
Oh
they
yeah.
make? Because someone out there is gonna look at the facility level from GoldenEye and make it precisely
Of
in
course.
in Agent
Exactly.
64, Spies Never Die,
People are gonna
and all
remake
sorts.
those levels.
Yep. So yeah, Spies Never Die, not fully out yet, but you should, if you have fond memories of Perfect Dark or GoldenEye, definitely check out the demo. I had a lot of fun with it, and you can check out the video I uploaded on our channel for how chaotic that got. Anyways, Tim, I've been talking a lot about games I've been playing. What have you been playing?
Um. So they recently released a game. Someone recently released a game called Neon White. This might have been shown off briefly at one of these various summer game fest events as well. But it just came out like last week, I think it was. And it's a first person shooter, but it's run based. And it's very much like a time attack sort of thing. But instead of picking up guns, you pick up these cards. And you don't build a deck, but you just pick up cards on the level, or like enemies will drop them or whatever. And they're always in like a very specific location. And you can either like left click to shoot, or you can right click to discard your card, and each different weapon has its own specific effect for when you discard it. So for example, there's like a pistol and it's like a yellow card, and when you could just shoot with it, and you have limited shots with it, and then once you're done with it, the card's gone. Or you could discard it, which get rid of the card, and it will provide you with a jump, so you could use that midair as like a double jump. And there's a lot of like each of the weapons has their own secondary effect like that, and it's just like basically a quick like time attack run through a level, and each level's only like at most 30 seconds. So
Oh,
it's really quick, and it's got like that instant like it's got one of your key bindings is just reset the level or restart the level. So it's like very quick to like just restart if you mess up or whatever. And an interesting thing about this is like so like once you hit a certain time, you unlock like you've got bronze, gold, you got a silver, gold, etc. And for each medal or whatever, each tier it unlocks what they call like insight or something like that. I forget, but it basically unlocks like additional information about how to progress through the level, like for quicker runs or whatever. So like they'll show like you're at one insight level, you'll have like a ghost basically of yourself running through the level, so you can at least see what you did previously. It doesn't show other players, so it's limited just to yourself so that you can see where you're going and try to improve your times and everything. And then at like higher insight levels, it'll also show like this little floating icon in the level where it's like, hey, try going this way. And then it's very much a game of like iterating on your run times and while also like learning like new techniques throughout your play of it. And then it's got like global leaderboards and friend leaderboards and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And then
like
outside of the actual levels, it's got like a hub world that is very I don't know enough about Persona, but I want to say it's similar to Persona, where it's very anime of like, hey, here's all these various characters, and you're collecting gifts that are like hidden in the levels. So you collect a gift and give it to them, and then just further dialogue and stuff like that for them.
is, is
It's
there
a really neat game.
dating? Is there dating sim elements?
I
Can you
don't know
can you
yet. I
give
haven't
gifts?
played enough, but you
Okay.
do give gifts and improve your relationship status with them or
Oh,
whatever. You know.
oh. It sounds to me because I saw this on my Steam homepage,
Yeah.
and my Steam homepage. I'm sure everyone saw this on their Steam homepage, but like,
Yeah.
it sounds super involved. But you say the levels are like 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's super
Like,
quick. Like you can complete like most of my times were like I don't know, anywhere between like 15 and 30 seconds depending on the level. So it's pretty quick.
how far have you gotten into it?
Um I think I only did one world. So like each world as
Okay.
far as I know is about 10 levels, something like that. And then there's the hub world where you kind of do all that stuff. And then you can revisit levels however much you want.
Sounds like you're kind of into it. You're
Yeah.
mostly thumbs up for now.
Yeah. It's it's very
Okay.
much a game where I want to spend a little bit of time here and there like over however long until I've finished it or whatever. It's definitely
You
something
brought up to me that,
we should
yeah.
try doing like a yeah, we should try doing like a time attack thing, you and me.
All right, all right. I'm down for it. Is there anything else you're playing here? I'm seeing a note on Symphony
Yeah.
of War. What is this?
Yeah. So this is Symphony of War. It's called the Nephilim. Yeah, Symphony of War, the Nephilim Saga, I think is the full title. Um, I want to say I found out about this from some random like article on my Google feed or whatever, from some random like indie game website or whatever. I don't know. Um, and so I checked that out. I'm like, this looks totally up my alley because, um, Jeff, are you at all familiar with the Ogre Battle series?
I've heard of it. I'm not familiar with how it plays, or I'm blanking on what it even looks like, but I've definitely heard of the
Um,
series.
so I was really into like Ogre Battle 64, which was the N64 game in that series. And then they made like a tactics RPG version on the Game Boy Advance and PSP and that kind of stuff, which was very similar to like Final Fantasy Tactics. Um, but Ogre Battle 64 and Symphony of the War are more like strategy RPGs, where you're managing an army of you have like a large army of like different squads of guys, and your squads will be at most like 9 characters per squad, and it's all like each one is their own individual unit of like their own class and stats and stuff that they all level up and everything through playing. And then you're kind of just fighting battles on this overview map that is very similar to like uh, Fire Emblem, I guess. So it's very similar to Fire Emblem, but instead you're, if I remember correctly, with Fire Emblem, each unit on the battle is one guy or something like that, and not like a squad of guys. Um, so in this, like you just like each unit in the world in the battle map is like a squad, and then they fight automatically when you attack another squad. And it's just like you're just going through this large campaign of like some war or whatever, like high fantasy like campaign thing. But I've been enjoying it a lot. It's definitely been like I didn't think I would be get into it as much as I have been, because anytime I've tried to get into like Fire Emblem, I'll play like a Fire Emblem game. I'll get into it for like an hour or two at most. But that's because it's closer to like the Ogre Battle series. You're managing like larger squads of guys with a lot more variance that way. Um,
This recently come out?
yeah,
Symphony of War?
it's fairly recent, like maybe a few
Okay.
weeks, something like that. But yeah, I'm really digging it.
Okay. Okay. How many hours have you poured into it so far?
Probably about a dozen, something like that.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this something you'd want to stream?
Maybe. Yeah, I would be up for it.
Okay. Uh, has there been anything else that you played recently before I move on to our next note here?
Um, I've played a few random demos because there was like the Steam Next Fest, which had some of the demos. One of them being that Agent 64. But the only one that stands out to me right now is the Metal Hellsinger, which is very much like Doom, but um, instead it's playing like these it's playing metal music, but it's very rhythm based. But it's not like if you fail to match the rhythm, you're not failing or anything. It's basically you're incentivized to match the rhythm by getting like bonuses to damage and everything. And every like certain number of like met successes in matching the rhythm, your multiplier goes up, and as the multiplier goes up, like the track that's playing like adds more instruments or adds vocals or whatever, and so then it just kind of improves the track as you're playing as well. But that's pretty cool. That game's pretty cool, and it's coming out sometime later this year.
Okay. So the thing we want to touch on for this podcast is that, and we did a watch along in our
Yeah,
YouTube channel and our Twitch, but it's the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase as well as the PC gaming show.
yeah,
And I had in our notes here that we're going to discuss this on the podcast, but it's been maybe more than a week since we did our watch along on that. So I
yeah.
have a cheat sheet. Just now I got my cheat sheet here about games that I'll just do the quick read through for games that that were shown. And Tim, stop me if there's any game here you want to touch on. So, Redfall gameplay reveal, Hollow Knight, Silk Song, High on Life, Riot Games on Xbox Game Pass. And what I'll note there is I think it's really cool that in Valorant, agents will be unlocked based on you having Xbox Game Pass. I think that's very cool.
Same thing
A
with like
Plague
League of
Tale,
Legends, so you get all
yeah.
the characters unlocked, which is a huge. That's a huge like um money proposition, I guess, for anyone who has Game Pass. If you're into
I
that
never
game,
got into League. Is there like a lot of characters that you would have to unlock either through
there's like
paying or unlocking?
yeah. So in League of Legends, it's like there's probably well over 100 something, 100 to 150 ish characters, and each character can vary from like $5 to like $20 or whatever, depending on when it was released. So like you can either grind out currencies in game to get that, or like they have like a free roster of like maybe a dozen free characters every week or however often they update that roster. But yeah, that's like a kind of a big deal to just here's all the characters unlocked.
Plague Tale, Requiem, Forza Motorsport, Also, Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels DLC, which I thought was really cool
Yeah,
to watch in that.
yeah. Like I forget, was that included with Game Pass or was that just a standalone thing?
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Yeah, either way, I'm
I
probably gonna
remember
check that out. I
I
think.
forget which Forza game I was into. It was like the one that took place in the UK, but they had Legos as a DLC
I
thing.
think that was 4,
Okay.
and 3 had a Hot Wheels as well, from what I remember hearing.
Microsoft Flight Simulator, and which will have Halo themed vehicles.
And space, so now you can fly in space somehow with some of those vehicles.
I never got into Flight Simulator. Did you?
I've dabbled in it here and there.
Okay.
It's definitely a game where it's
Oh,
just like, well, you're doing real time flights, so it's gonna be several hours sometimes.
Overwatch 2. Ara, History Untold. Or Ara or
I think it's
ARA?
Ara. I think it's Ara.
See, the internet has me messed up where I associate Ara with weird anime fans associating that with well, I'm not gonna get into it. The Elder Scrolls Online High Isle. Fallout 76 DLC. Arc 2. Scorn. Is Scorn the one that was weird? That was unsettling to watch?
Um,
Am I mixing up?
Maybe.
I'll have to
For me, it
rewatch.
was fine, but maybe for
I
you,
guess I'm more sensitive.
it was the one that looked.
Flintlock.
It was the one that looked like an alien movie, I guess, or
Yeah,
aliens, or whatever.
I'd have to rewatch that one. Well, you rewatch it. You tell me if it's the weird one. Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn,
That game looked
Minecraft
cool.
Legends. Well, which one? Flintlock or Minecraft
Flintlock,
Legends?
but also
Okay, yeah,
Minecraft Legends.
yeah. If maybe that's something we'll have to get into together on a stream. Minecraft Legends.
Yeah,
We went through a brief Minecraft phase, but maybe we'll revisit it for Minecraft Legends.
yeah,
Lightyear Frontier, Gunfire Reborn. Here's one I thought was cool. The Last Case of Benedict Fox. I thought that one was
right.
visually cool.
I think
I
that's a
might be into that one.
Metrovania too, if I
I'm
recall.
I'm super into those types of
Yeah,
games, so
same.
that's right up my alley. As Dusk Falls, Naraka Blade Point, Pentiment. Grounded was Grounded the one where you were tiny in a
Yeah, that was
garden
the
or something?
Honey I Shrunk the Kids sort of game.
Erebon, Shadow Legacy, Diablo 4, Sea of Thieves Season 7, which had a catchy
Yeah,
song
I remember.
in
Yeah,
the
Diablo 4. I don't think either of us. I mean, I don't think you were a Diablo player or anything, but
nah.
Diablo 4, like watching that, I did not realize that was Diablo 4 until they said the name, basically.
Well,
Because,
they were showcasing a particular character or character class, and then it's
yeah,
like, oh, surprise, this is Diablo 4,
yeah,
right? It was like a necromancer or something.
yeah,
Am I recalling that correctly?
yeah,
Ravenlock, Cocoon, Wolong, Fallen Dynasty. And you mentioned Persona earlier. Persona 3, 4, and 5 will be coming to Xbox and PC,
right.
which is intriguing because it's like if you're into anime JRPGs, I feel like you would have gone for a PS4 or PS5 at this point. So it's
Yeah,
like you
sure.
would
But
have,
the funny thing is, people have been wanting, um, I think Persona 5 on the Switch, right?
yes,
And it's funny, it's coming to PC on Steam, which means it's also going to be playable on the Steam Deck before it gets to Switch. Which,
heartbreaking,
yeah,
heartbreaking. I
which maybe
wonder
that's
what
where I'll play it.
I wonder what's keeping them from putting it on the Switch.
No
I wonder
idea.
because Joker's in Smash, but I would hope they have a good relationship with Nintendo.
Everything I know about Atlas is it seems like they just don't want to port their games because they're just stuck with that old mentality of just only one console or whatever.
Here was a fun bit from that. Hideo Kojima and Xbox partnership, which
Yeah,
has some folks online salty.
that was funny.
I saw a weird petition online about like boycotting Kojima's Xbox game or something like that.
Yeah,
It was weird.
because they felt entitled that he should only release games on PlayStation or something weird, even though
Yeah, I
that
forgot
was never a thing. They're an independent studio. They're gonna put their games wherever.
I forgot what it was like a petition.org type of deal where it's like not everyone can afford to buy yada yada yada.
It's like that goes the other way
Boycott
as well too. If you want to bring
Kojima
that
is
up,
abandoning us. The
and then like
entitlement is unreal.
all the like responses to that petition in the petition that people signed were just like completely dunking on this person because they're like, yeah, I'm just signing this because you're an idiot, that kind of stuff.
And the showstopper last bit for that Xbox and Bethesda showcase was the Starfield gameplay reveal, which
Right.
was fascinating.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm I'm cautiously optimistic
Yeah.
about what we've seen so far with Starfield because it looks very hype. I like the idea of customizing a ship, especially, you know, someone's going to customize their spaceship to look like something lewd, but
Of
I'm of
course.
the mindset of like I want to make a spaceship that looks very basic and that it's going to be like visually ridiculous that I have a spaceship that looks like a gummy ship
Of course.
flying through the cosmos.
And since
What
it is a Bethesda game, like there's going to be tons of mods for that kind of thing. So I wouldn't be
oh yeah.
surprised if someone made an actual gummy ship in that.
Are you hyped for Starfield?
Yeah, I usually jump into every Bethesda game anyway, but this one it's seems like a mix of like Fallout and um, No Man's Sky for some of that kind of
Uh-huh.
stuff.
It's funny because like through the entirety of this showcase slash presentation, we kept seeing like available on Game Pass day one.
Yeah.
They really drove home
Oh
like, hey
yeah.
man, if you're not on Game Pass, you need to get on Game Pass. You
I
need to
vaguely
get on Game
remember
Pass.
they had something like that last year, but they also I don't think they also had a mention of like, hey, everything we're showing in this is coming out within the next 12 months, which they did for this one as well. So they're like, for this
Yeah,
one, they're like,
they had
everything we're
like
showing is coming out within the next 12 months, or like, this is what we're shooting for at least.
it's funny because like they found a way to avoid promises in terms of
Yeah.
release date by just saying, hey, within the next year, within the next year.
Yeah. I don't I don't recall seeing a ton that had like definitive release dates, which is kind of good because we technically don't really need them until like it gets closer to launch when that'll actually matter.
All right. And then we also watch the. Is there anything else you want to touch on with the Xbox and Bethesda one before we move on to the PC game showcase?
Not really.
All right. I have my cheat sheet here of the PC game showcase, which is a lot,
Yeah,
but
that was a lengthy one.
yeah, I'll just kind of go over the stuff that I think you and I would be mutually into discussing. We discussed Agent 64, Spies Never
Yeah,
Die. Uh,
and Pat.
Half-Life Alex levitation mod. That was just neat to watch.
Yeah,
That was neat to watch. I never got into Half-Life, but I just thought that bit was neat to watch.
I've always liked the PC
Uh,
gaming show, even though they've usually been hit or miss because they kind of it's not focused on like these big publishers generally, so you find a lot of weirder, smaller stuff a lot of times, and so you can end up finding a lot of small like gems in there, I guess. Um, like
was it the
like
Son? Go.
I think it was the PC gaming show where there was a game announced called Demon School, I think, something like that, where it was basically like a Persona game or whatever,
Oh,
and that looked neat.
I think that's coming back to me.
Yeah,
The one that I was super into is called Welcome to Nivalis. Nivalis, where it was you'll have to. I don't know if you remember it, Tim, but it was like a
no.
cyberpunk setting where you have to like, or it was like a
Oh,
it came off
the
like a restaurant like management, but then it's like
yeah.
a city builder of some kind or some type of like a
It was like a
cyberpunk
bar
setting, but
management
no
sort of
combat,
thing.
just like
Yeah,
management. Yeah,
yeah, and you're
I'm
like
into
managing
that.
a bar or a restaurant or whatever in a cyberpunk universe or whatever.
I thought that was cool. I would like to play a cyberpunk type of setting game, set piece, but like cozy. Like I'm
Yeah,
not in the mood to fight anyone. I just want to manage a restaurant or something. So that was Welcome to Nivalis. Uh, I I don't think either of us were super hyped for System Shock, but there was System Shock.
Yeah.
Uh, Potion Craft I thought was really neat. Potion Craft just looks cozy. That has
Yeah.
like an autumn 2022 release date.
Yeah, that thing is in
Mm.
early access right now. But
Uh-huh.
it's since it's already coming soon anyway, you might as well just wait. What was that clone game?
Clone game? Oh, I know the one you're talking about. The one that had a trailer where it's like a dude saw another dude, but that dude was him.
Yeah.
And there were other dudes that were him.
One was just eating a
Oh man.
cheeseburger while they were operating on one of them.
Like I have the list of games, but I'm
Yeah.
blanking on like attaching a title to what that one
Yeah,
was.
like most of these, I'm not going to necessarily remember the name off the bat. Um, but yeah, there was definitely a lot of stuff in there that was just like very, like I said, hit or miss as far as like you're not sure if like it's not like very focused like um the week prior to this, like a few days before this, there was that Summer Game Fest thing, which was just
Uh-huh.
like they're like opening day of Summer Game Fest, and we did like a stream of that or something, and that was very focused on like um, sci-fi survival horror. It felt like because there were like 3 or 4 games. It seemed like that all fit that genre. Like that one, the big one being the Callisto Protocol, which was the like former Dead Space creative director game.
Here's a game that was shown during the PC gaming show. Like I'm looking at the list right now, and I saw Deceive Inc. And I said to myself, that one was
Right.
cool. I can't
Yeah.
remember what it was. I looked it up. I looked up an image just now. It's that espionage game that's multiplayer. That
Yes.
seemed really
Yeah. That
cool.
one. Yeah. Yeah. That was one that I forgot the name of as well, and it's just like, oh right, that's what it was. Because yeah, I think that one was showing up as well. Um,
I'm I'm gonna beat myself up that I'm not remembering the clone game that you were talking about because I remember us like we were interested, but we just didn't know whether to be hype because there
yeah,
wasn't
because
any
there was
gameplay
no.
shown.
Yeah, exactly. But it was made by the same. It was either the same developers or the same publisher as like This War of Mine and Frostpunk, which are very like dystopian like games or whatever. So this is probably similar-ish. Um,
Hmm. I had to take a moment to remember, but the Stray game was during the Sony State of Play, right?
yeah,
The
the
cat.
one where you're the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
coming out soon. Actually, I think that's like a month from now, something like that.
Okay. Was there anything else from the PC gaming showcase that you want to? I know you brought up Demon School, and I'm aligned with you that that one seemed cool.
Yeah, I'm interested in Stormgate. That is the former Blizzard developers making an RTS. So they have been struggling to do that at Blizzard. So or at least trying to get that up and running. So they broke off from Blizzard and created a studio. And now they have like an actual game in the works and everything that they showed off a little bit about it. Um, I don't know when that'll be coming, but it's something.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we discussed, and if we're struggling to remember some of the stuff we saw from those trailers, but like we have that content on our YouTube
Yeah.
channel for you to revisit to get our spicy initial takes. Uh,
Was it
yeah,
Immortality? No, it wasn't Immortality. That was something different.
yeah. I'm gonna beat myself up when we stop recording and we remember like, oh, it's that one.
I
But
might
outs
remember it later.
but beyond, did
Oh,
we
I
already
remember now.
discuss?
It was the
What was it?
Altars. The Altars.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Alters.
yeah. Again, like cool concept. We just need
Yeah,
to see what the gameplay
we
is
don't know
like.
what it is. Yeah.
Like I can't get hyped just from seeing that small like bit. Like I'm hyped conceptually, but
Right.
as a game, I need to see more. Did we discuss Dragon's Dogma 2? I think
No,
you
that was a
watched that. I
separate.
didn't watch that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was so they did like the Monday after the PC gaming show and the Xbox thing. They had a Capcom thing, but there was no mention of Dragon's Dogma despite it being like its 10th anniversary, which they've been advertising online about like, hey, it's the 10th anniversary of this game, and there was nothing mentioned about it in that Capcom stream for whatever reason. Um,
Uh-huh.
but instead, they're like, hey, we have an actual separate streaming thing. We're streaming a separate 10th anniversary thing, and for that, it was very much like a retrospective of the first game. And then at the end, they announced that the sequel is actually in the works. Um, Jeff, did you play Dragon's Dogma at all?
Nope.
So it is very much like a an action RPG, um, like a fantasy action RPG, but it has somewhat elements of like a Shadow of Colossus, where you're instead of like climbing a giant monster, a giant like Colossus thing, you can just free climb onto various monsters and stuff, and which is very janky. But it also has like some light Devil May Cry combat as well, because it's also like some of the same team that made those games as well. So it's like this weird mishmash of that and like a little bit of Monster Hunter in there as well. So it's this weird hybrid of like a variety of like games that they've worked on in the past. So I it's definitely been my game that I've played a ton in the past, and I'm definitely looking forward to the sequel.
Okay. Yeah, I think there was another thing that was happening during the Dragon's Dogma reveal that I think I watched instead. It might
Right.
have been the
Yeah, those
RE4 thing.
no, it was the Final Fantasy thing. It was literally like they streamed at the
Oh
exact same
wow.
time, which was weird.
Oh yeah, we should touch upon like they're doing the second part of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. I mean, which was kind of expected anyway, but they had
Right.
announced like actual release and everything.
Yeah, I guess I'll touch on Final Fantasy VII a bit. And this, I know this it recently got released on Steam. So
Yeah, that was one
if
thing
you're if
announced, right? If I remember correctly, I
uh
think it was announced
did
there
that
ahead.
happen during the I don't whatever the case may be, it's on Steam
Yeah.
now. So I'm gonna discuss some spoilers real quick. If you're playing through Final Fantasy VII on PC for the first time, maybe skip ahead a few minutes here. But well, I'll put the timestamps in the description box below. But Final Fantasy VII, from when I played it on PS4, there was a hint of like certain characters are aware that the events of this game have already happened. So now it's like, is this taking place in an alternate reality, an alternate universe? And there have been fans who have uploaded YouTube videos of like, theories about what's happening in the game, and it's like a 3 hour long video about what's really happening in this remake of Final Fantasy VII. Well, first of all, Tim, have you played the OG 7 or even the
Nope.
remake for that matter?
Neither.
So some of this will be, I know you won't get some of this, but now we're getting into territory of like the
By the
ending
time I
of that
eventually
first,
play it, if I do, I wouldn't remember anyway.
right?
I don't even
So
remember all the things at the PC gaming show, for example.
yeah, so some of you OGs out there are gonna be like, you'll know that like Zack is referenced a lot in the remake, and like at that in that ending, it's like, is he alive? And it's like, does Aerith know what's going on here? And now that they're gonna do this second installment of the remake, it's like, what events will change it differently? I've been seeing people online like theorizing that, what if Tifa dies instead of Aerith? Bruh, can you imagine the salt? The salt. I don't. Here's the thing, though. I don't think Square Enix would do something that wild. I feel like this is gonna be
Yeah.
some like this is going to be some power of friendship stuff where it's like this is the story where everyone finds a way to have their happy ending and Aerith live. They're going to do some Kingdom Hearts like the power of friendship made everything okay in this alternate reality or alternate timeline or whatever this is going on here.
I mean, I
But
suppose they could have like actual decision making stuff where like for the player where like you do something and you prevent someone's death or whatever, but
oh
I don't
my
know if they would
gosh,
do that.
I have played Gears of War spoilers. I have played Gears of War 5 where there was very much a decision that's like, hey man, who do you want to live? Like, and you're like, no, there's got to be a way
None.
that, nope.
All of all of them. Kill them all.
Did you play any of the newer Gears?
I've only played a little bit of the first.
So In Gears 5. Spoil. I don't know how we got from Final Fantasy spoilers to
They're
Gears
very
5
similar
spoilers.
games.
There's like two of your buddy characters is like JD and Dell, and there's just a point in the story where it's like you got to save one of them, and like you're pointing a gun at the bad guy. You're like, well, surely like I shoot the bad guy and that saves both of them. You're like, no, you gotta choose one of them to save, and that's such a bogus. I did not like that one bit, but I'm waiting to see how that plays out. Do they have like a canonical decision? But anyway, what was I gonna get at here? Okay, we're safe. Hey, if you fast forward it a bit, we're safe from Final Fantasy spoilers now. I'm excited. I'm excited. What else did we want to discuss here? Oh, movies we watched. Movies we watched. We again because we've been playing Shredder's Revenge. We got back into what was it? 1990, the
Yeah,
1990 live action Turtles movie.
yeah,
Still holds up. Still
yeah.
holds up.
That
Turtle
movie,
Rhapsody, great song.
it feels like, or it doesn't. It flies by perfectly fine. Like the pacing is great, but it also feels like it's a like a 3 hour movie in that it's like there's a lot going on in it as far as like
Right.
how much is going like different scenes and everything. But it's yeah, it still holds up really well.
I was kind of doing some errands while we were watching it over Discord. Was like, what was the context of the turtles and April and Casey going to like some farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere? Because they
Oh
ran
right,
away
right,
from April's
yeah.
apartment. Was that
So
Casey's house or April's
no, that
farmhouse
was
or something like?
I think that was April's or something. The
Okay,
reason for that was because the Foot Clan attacked her apartment because they
okay.
followed. I think they followed them there somehow, and so because they attacked it, they're like, "Well, we can't go back there." It's and that's when everything else went down later in the movie as well. Like did it like it burnt right? It burned down right, and then they went to the farmhouse. Yeah,
Like I remember coming back from like either letting my dog out or something, like walking my dog or something, and then I came back and they're like at a farmhouse, and I'm like, I remember this scene as a kid. I
yeah,
don't remember the context of them being at a farmhouse. So I needed a moment to be like, what was
yeah.
the story reason for this?
And they were at the
Uh,
farmhouse for a little bit, not super long or anything, but still they change it up at least. Like you would like if you were if you watched the this movie for the first time, you would be like, wait, why are they here? Like this makes based on what you understand of the Ninja Turtles, like this is like sort of out of left field in a way, but it made sense for the
So
movie.
1990 Ninja Turtles still holds up.
Yeah,
If you're playing Shredder's Revenge and you got access to that movie, rewatch it. It still holds up.
yeah,
I remember as a kid hating Casey Jones for beating up Raph, but then rewatching this, be like, all right, Casey Jones kind of cool.
yeah. I mean,
Casey's kind of
it
cool.
made sense why he did. It wasn't like out of nowhere or anything like that.
Casey just strikes me as like the Punisher, just there to beat up bad dudes,
Yeah, but it
but
was
like
funny.
not kill
Like
them, but just beat
it
them
was
up.
funny. Like when we're watching it, I mentioned this. Like here's this guy who wears a mask. He's a vigilante. He wears a mask, but then he uses his full name, or at least I'm assuming it's his actual name. But still, like if you're a vigilante and you're wearing a mask, why would you use your your real name or whatever?
I think he's not actually like promoting himself though, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
if April
But
or the
even
Turtles
so,
ask him his name, they'll call himself Casey. He's not like
yeah, but still,
it's not like
it's just funny.
Batman where it's like, he wants people to know about the bat signal and
Yeah, so
he's
now I
a
want to know
symbol of fear.
what do outsiders like know him as? Like, do they is there that lore out there that I should look into?
Yeah, as we rewatched Turtles and as we've been playing Shredder's Revenge, I think it dawned on both of us that we have forgotten a lot of this lore.
Yeah,
In terms of other stuff we watched two movies that were both, in my opinion, home runs.
yeah,
The first, well, let's first discuss Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was so fascinating
yeah.
because there's been a lot of multiverse themed movies. If you're into Doctor Strange, if you're into, Spider Verse, if you're into, I'm sure there's others that I'm not
It's this
remembering at the
year's time
moment.
loop. Well, except for movies.
But if you are a fan of Michelle Yeoh, and I remember her from being in a Jackie Chan movie that I'm blanking the name on at the moment, and also like from Tomorrow Never Dies. I know she's a great actress, but she's so good in this one. She plays
Yeah,
Evelyn,
the whole
and it's
cast was
like,
great. Like
oh yeah,
there was
oh yeah.
everyone in it was great.
Who was the actor who played Wayland? He was like Short Round or something. Is
Yeah, I
that what
forgot the
people?
guy's name. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was in Goonies and um, Indiana Jones, Temple of
Yeah,
Doom.
yeah, he was so good, and it's like, again, this is going to be spoil. This is such a great movie that I would, you know, if you haven't watched it and you plan to,
It's
maybe,
very silly in a lot of parts too, or most
yeah,
of it actually. But
like
it's also actually
skip
really
ahead a
wise.
bit if you haven't watched the movie yet, because this is a great movie to watch, you know, without knowing anything.
Yeah,
But like the idea of a multiverse where Evelyn has to be like learning the skill sets of herself from these different universes, and it's there's themes of being nihilistic in that like nothing matters, which is the stance that her daughter took from the Alpha universe, if I'm remembering
yeah.
the story correctly. I'm blanking on what the name of her daughter was, but like the alpha the from the Alpha universe, she stopped caring about everything because she saw every universe,
She was
and
living every universe everywhere all at
right,
once. So yeah,
and it was like she knew nothing mattered. But then you have characters like Waylon and Evelyn where they take the stance, well, like, if nothing matters, that means we get to choose the things that do matter. And that's
right.
such a great like theme for a movie like this. Like, you know, and again, like I'm sure there's a lot of young people out there who kind of, you know, it strikes a chord with them to be a young person who feels like nothing in the world matters. And I think I saw an interview, or I read an interview where like the writers or director of the movie was like, you know, this is a stance that, you know, because so many young people have access to phones and the internet and social media, that they have access to so many people's worlds, and they have all these worlds to compare their own life to, whereas like, you know, our parents and whatnot, they did not have, you know, that kind
They're kind
of.
of just stuck in their own world or whatever.
Right. So when you open yourself up to the fact that there's so many different lives and worlds out there, you can get to feeling a bit nihilistic about your own life and, you know, what's going on in your own world. And it touches on so many themes. And you know, as someone who grew up as an Asian American, like I see like bits of my own family in Evelyn and
Yeah,
Waylon,
there's
and you
definitely
know,
like
like
that was not like. I mean, it was definitely a big theme of the movie, but um, it wasn't like the main theme of it or anything. It was definitely there for sure.
and something I like is that they, you know, there's a lot of these quick jokes and you know segments where it's like, hey, here's an alternate universe where there's a raccoon in a chef's hat and he's controlling the chef with
Yeah,
chef's cooking, and it's like, okay, this is just a one-off gag that's not going to get
yeah,
a payoff, but then it does get a
yep.
payoff. The gags get a payoff.
And the same thing with like another universe or another, yeah, a universe where instead of have everyone like developing fingers, they developed hot dogs instead of fingers, so they had
Hot
hot
dog
dog
finger
hands.
universe.
Yeah, and then you'd think, oh, that's only a one-off thing as well, but no, they bring that back several times throughout it,
It's
and then you
so
see like some character development happen within those universes as well.
it's so like I love this that type of storytelling that has like an absurdity and a comedy to it, but
Yeah,
through that you become emotionally attached. And
exactly.
I
Yeah,
was browsing a Reddit thread, and everyone wanted to talk about like the scene that was purely silence between two rocks talking.
yeah,
And if you saw that scene out of context, you would be like, this is so stupid. But
yeah.
at that point in the movie, you are so emotionally attached to what's happening to Evelyn
You're
and her
so
daughter that
emotionally
you just buy
attached to the
it.
rocks.
Yeah, there's a scene where like Evelyn's rock has googly eyes on it, and like her daughter as a rock just rolls off the edge, and you're like, Evelyn rolls on off the edge after her to save her. And again, if you watch this scene out of context, this is like so stupid. But at
Yep.
that point in the movie, it's like it's so emotionally great. I don't know. I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once. What did
Yeah.
you think, Tim?
Same. Like I knew I would. Just going into it based purely off the trailers and like what other people online have been saying about it, just without any mentioning any spoilers about it either. Um, yeah, I knew I was going to be into it. It was also directed and written by this guy who made a movie called um, Swiss Army Man. I don't know if you're at all familiar with that. Um, it stars Paul Dano, who's the main character who gets stranded on an island, very similar to Castaway in a way, but instead of like being stuck alone with just some random stuff, I mean he is, but he also finds a corpse that's washed up on the shore that is played by Daniel Radcliffe, who then, through the use of bodily functions of that corpse, he's able to escape the island, and he befriends the corpse. It's a very weird movie, and like Jeff, you're gonna have to watch the trailer for that. It's
Swiss Army Man. I'll
yeah,
look it up.
it's a really weird movie, but
Daniel
it's
Radcliffe is the
yeah,
corpse.
yeah,
I'll have to look
but
that up.
it's similar, and like it's just a very silly yet heartwarming movie.
Again, I was browsing Reddit threads for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and like one last thing I'll bring up is like the character Waylon, where Alpha Waylon is presented as like in control of the situation. You know,
Right.
when you first get introduced to him, he's like the guy that's aware of everything that's going on, so you feel a sense of reassurance when he's on screen and he's guiding Evelyn through things. And then like he dies eventually, but then the Waylon from Evelyn's universe, it turns out he's the one through kindness that brings it all together. And you
The
know,
power of friendship.
the power of friendship. You know what? I'm okay with this type of power of
Yeah, yeah.
friendship.
It worked in this
Like the
context.
and I think something that resonated with me was that, you know, Waylon had a line. I'm gonna butcher this line, so I'm just gonna paraphrase it. Like he calls Evelyn a fighter, and Waylon said that his way of fighting is through being kind to people, and that
Right.
resonated with me because I feel like I'm generally not a confrontational person, you know, but like my way of navigating difficult situations is through kindness. So that kind of resonated with me that Waylon delivered that line, and it came at like such a great point in the movie. And it's like, I don't know, to call yourself a fighter by navigating difficult situations through kindness. That I thought that was very cool. So again, everything
It's
everywhere
like
all at once. Highly recommend.
yeah, it's like you're playing a D&D fighter, but you just maxed out your charisma stat and
That's right.
your strength is your dump stat, and but not you're not using charisma as a way to just persuade. You're purely persuasion and deception. It's like through actual kindness and everything. Like,
Right,
hey, we can
right.
actually it's through diplomacy and like actual good intent.
Persuasion checks. Waylon maxed out his charisma and just
Yeah,
rolls persuasion checks.
exactly.
And another great movie, which is completely different.
It was
Well, we
also
watched
very silly as well in different ways.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is a great movie.
Yeah.
So dumb.
This is a
If
movie
you're in the
where
mood, yeah, go ahead.
this is like an action movie where Nicolas Cage plays an exaggerated version of himself as like a washed up movie actor who's kind of like he's finally able to pay off his massive debts through doing like this birthday party or whatever for this guy who ends up being a drug runner. And it's just there's just a lot of like ridiculous situations happening in this movie, but he's just yeah, I don't know. He's just playing a big like hammed up version of himself, and the other
Again,
guy's a big fanboy.
I saw on Reddit that Nick Cage did an AMA on some movie. I forgot what movie, but like people asked him about his role in Massive Talent, and he was like, he he was he was like, Just be clear that this is not how I actually am."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, of course,
Like I
like
can see why he
it's
might
yeah,
not be a fan of how he is portrayed in that movie, but I adore it. I adore like Nicolas Cage having like these moments where he's down in the dumps and he has to talk to a young version of himself who yells at him.
yeah. It reminds me of I don't know if you've seen Arrested Development at all, but
Bits and pieces through YouTube
there
clips.
was there's definitely like they have a recurring Carl Weathers character in it, where Carl Weathers plays like this weird version. I don't know if it's even close to his real self, but he's just like this weird, like caricature of himself that he just shows up on occasion throughout the series. So it
Is
reminded
Carl
me of that.
Weathers a character who plays himself in Arrested Development?
I mean, he's just kind of like a random supporting character
Okay,
that just
okay.
shows up. He's not like a main character or anything like that.
I'll have to look up a clip of that.
Oh yeah,
I love me some Carl Weathers. I
yeah,
love me some Apollo Creed. Uh, but yeah, after all that, it's funny because like I had so much to say about everything everywhere all at once, but like Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It's like if you like Nick Cage movies, you'll get plenty of
yeah,
references that are done like comedically and well and not they don't feel ham-fisted or anything like that. It's very thematic to like, okay, Nick Cage is meeting one of his super fans.
yep.
And like yeah, you should watch if you have followed Nick Cage's career, this is like a must watch.
And it was funny because like I think this is actually where he's at the point where he's financially like no longer in like ridiculous debt or anything like that. So now he's actually able to take like roles like his his choice in roles more seriously instead of just you know just to get a paycheck sort of thing.
I feel like you and I, through the course of like the past year, we've watched Nick Cage movies that have been pretty solid. We've watched
Yeah,
Pig, Willy's Wonderland. We've watched Massive
yeah,
Talent. Nick Cage is doing solid. I don't know. I feel like he goes through the roller coaster of like he'll do really well, and then there's a movie that comes out. You're like, what is
yeah.
this? But
I think
oh
Man was it Mandy? Yeah, Mandy was the one from like a few years ago where it kind of just where it felt like he was on an upswing of like actual good quality movies.
I don't recall watching that one. Well, I haven't watched that one, but yeah, like of the Nick Cage movies we've seen within the past year, home runs.
Yeah,
I didn't fall in love with Pig as I feel like the internet did,
yeah,
but Pig was fine.
yeah.
Pig was fine.
It definitely wasn't bad
Uh,
or anything. It was just
I
different,
feel
I
like
guess.
I did myself a disservice by reading other people's hype on the movie Pig.
Yeah.
But outside of that, yeah, man. What are we looking at in terms of time here? Nope, we are past the 1 hour mark by a bit here. Tim, is there anything you wanna call out before we put a bow on this episode and call it?
Jeff, let's do that last thing.
You
Still,
want to do this
yeah,
last
why
bit
not?
here? Something we've been doing in recent podcast episodes is like a discussion prompt or something that just a random idea we have that we might want to discuss. So I brought up, what obscure video game series or standalone game would you wish to come back, but it's so obscure that no one else is probably on your side about it but you? Tim, do you have one in mind?
Yeah. Um, so there was this game from the PC, um, early or mid late, somewhere in the 90s. I forget exactly when. They It was published by Discovery Games or something like that, like the channel Discovery Channel. They published a game called Evolution. I forget the full title, but it's just like this weird simulation of like you're just watching a bunch of like dinosaurs evolve over time, and you just have to like keep your population of animals and stuff alive. And it's like a fascinating simulation management game that I really enjoyed as a kid. That I can barely find ways to even get it running on modern PCs. I would love like a modern version of it.
It's called Evolution.
Yeah, it's reminds me of the game Spore, if you remember that at all, except
Uh,
without like the actual weird character creation stuff of that.
how many years ago was this Evolution game? Was this like
This was
from your
like in the
childhood?
90s. Yeah, this was in the
Oh
90s.
wow.
Yeah,
This is
like
different from
you
the
said it.
Evo Super Nintendo game, right?
Yeah, this is a very different thing.
Okay.
Also, that game would be cool if someone brought that back. I think that was a Square game or an Enix game. I forget. It was before they became Square Enix, though.
Uh-huh. So the reason I brought up this question is because the game I had in mind is called MLB Power Pros, which I might have mentioned in a previous way back in an older podcast episode, but it's an anime style baseball game, which is
Okay,
fascinating because like they still make this game in Japan, but there was like 2 years where they made American versions of this game, and
really?
it's an anime art style. but it's different in the sense there's two specific modes that I was into. One is called My Life, and one is called Success Mode. And My Life is a mode where you live the life of an MLB player. So you have to negotiate your contract. You have to like, and you have an
Okay.
option to like start a family outside of the game of baseball. And like, depending on how much you're getting paid in terms of your baseball salary, you can buy a house. But it's not like you walk around the house or anything. It
Right.
was very much like the static background behind your character is a mansion, or like
Okay.
you look in your inventory and you have a nice car. So it's not like you were walking around doing stuff. It was
Right.
just visually cool to see like, oh, I bought a mansion for my guy. So now the background image behind my guy is like a mansion. But more importantly, or more fun was the success mode because you played a minor league baseball character trying to get into the big leagues. And there
Huh.
was a time management aspect of like, when you play like sports games that have like time management aspects, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, do you want to practice your speed? All right, you devoted your afternoon to running
Right.
drills. And the first time you play success mode, you're like, oh, well, why would I not just do this all the time? Why would I do anything else but training drills? But that would be a mistake because by living your life, your character's life, like, do you want to work at the hot dog place at your part-time job? That creates like a side story where it's like you get a special ability for doing these side quests or side stories through the game. So that was something that I thought was a lot of fun, is like you can create a plain vanilla character by just doing nothing but training drills, and you will get
Just gotta
almost
min
no
max.
special abilities.
Just min max
But
the
by
most stats.
right. But like you can do a random off event where it's like, do you want to go to the movies? And you say, yeah. Do you want to devote the afternoon to going to the movies? And then it's like, oh, you got this special stat called good charisma where you boost the stats of your teammates. And I
Huh.
thought that was super fast. So you balance like actually training, but also living your character's life. So I would bring back MLB Power Pros. And
Was
it's
this
never went away. Well,
was
go
this the
ahead.
one that I think you've mentioned this to me in the past. Was this the one that was on the Wii that you played a bunch
Yes.
of? Okay.
100%.
I think you
100%.
mentioned this to me before.
They still make those games in Japan, but they haven't brought it back to America, and it breaks my heart. And
Huh.
if they don't, maybe I'll have to be the one that makes the next one, but I just can't use the MLB license.
Is it purely like a management game, or are you also doing actual like a baseball
Oh
game
no,
or like
that's
that's
the
just
great.
one
If you
aspect of it?
if you do not want to do any of this anime like
Huh.
success mode, life mode, you can just play a straight up baseball season or
Oh, okay.
baseball game for that matter.
Huh.
It's an added part of the game.
Yeah, I think I would want to look into that, try that out at some point.
Oh, I've been thinking about getting an Elgato because there are some like Wii games and Wii U games where it's like I would love to get this on the channel. People need to know about MLB Power Pros. I,
Oh, you
if
didn't
I'm
tell
the
me
one
this
who's
was like
responsible,
weird, like almost Funko Pop looking characters.
oh
This is
dude,
not at all what I thought
dude,
this was.
dude, it's anime, but like not quite anime the
Right,
way you
right,
guys are probably thinking about. It's like chibi anime.
right. I was
But on
thinking,
that note,
I don't know, like traditional anime or whatever you want to call it.
I think we can put a bow on this episode.
Yeah.
Everyone, please, thank you for joining us on podcast episode 22. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe and check out the description box below for the links to all our socials. If you're watching, if you're watching through, traditional means of listening to us on the podcast audio, then, thank you for continuing to join us on these episodes. And I guess we'll catch you guys next time. Tim,
Bye.
bye, Tim.
Bye,
So
Jeff.
long.